That was Soul to Soul. Keep on moving. So today is March 4th. This is the day where many people in Q9 believe that Donald Trump will be sworn in for president. This is based on the fact that I think in the 30s or 40s, that used to be the original inauguration day, but now it's not. So oftentimes you'll hear people kind of make an equivalence between what happened during the summer and what's happening now. There are a couple of reasons this is patently impossible. One is there was a distinct difference between the way Black Lives Matter protesters were greeted and dealt with, and the protesters and the insurrectionists on January 6th. Listening to the military give their intel, they were saying that they didn't want the optics. They didn't want it to look bad. They didn't want to, they thought it would cause more harm. Contrast that to the fact that there was an overabundance of force. There were dogs, there were paramilitary, there were helicopters, there were horses, rubber bullets, people in riot gear. They weaponized and actionized other federal officers and had them walking around in paramilitary gear. We had no idea what agency they represented. So there's a distinct difference between the way these two people were treated, these two organizations were treated. But the most stark difference that we all should be able to tell is today Congress is not in session. It's not because oftentimes they're not in session. They're the only people I know that can get a full-time job and work half the time. But they're not in session, and they're not in session primarily because of the domestic threats, because they believe that those same insurrectionists are going to try to attack the Capitol, and there's a hit out on Democratic senators and congressmen. How on earth is Black Lives Matter anything like that? How on earth did our protests make the government shut down? Or the vice president go into hiding, or the fact that 25,000 National Guards are all around the city right now, or the fact that the Capitol now looks like a military camp. How on earth do you shape your mouth to say that what would happen over the course of the summer when people were being slaughtered in the streets and nobody being brought to account for it, or anything like what you all have done? You tried to overthrow the government. And then when that didn't work, now you're talking about doing it again. And the government is not in session. The government is saying we won't be here because they could potentially come harm to us. They have never been so scared of Black Lives Matter that they stopped the course of business from being done. They've never been so scared of Black Lives Matter that they said we're going to use restraint. We're not going to have all these police officers out here and this law enforcement out there because it could exacerbate the situation. During the Black Lives Matter protests in Washington, D.C., almost 300 people were arrested that day. During the insurrection, only 41 people got arrested that day. Again, I have to point it out to you, we are nothing alike. We ask the government, we entreat the government to help us make law and legislation that makes it more fair. You wanted to shut down because you didn't get your way. The government is closed, not for business, but for ignorance. That's a little note from the GED section. It's the DL Hughley Show.